What's going on, everybody? Super Saiyan Polar here, back at it again. Today we're going to be discussing Dragon Ball Super Episode 130, Dragon Ball Super Episode 131, as well as the Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie spoilers. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled to anything that's going to be happening or anything that we may be speculating upon, make sure you guys click off of the video right now, because we're about to dive headfirst in some more Dragon Ball Super movie information. But before we get into that, we have to dive through the finale of Dragon Ball Super, this series. So that's where the spoilers for the first half of the first two episodes of the ending right here are going to take place. Anyway, if you guys are going to be watching the video, smash that like button, subscribe, as well as turn on notifications. This way you guys stay up to date with all of the latest news and information on the movie that's going to be upcoming with Dragon Ball Super. Anyway, guys, what we know is that this movie is going to be released on December 14th, 2018. And what we also know from the spoilers is that in episode 130, Goku and Jiren are going to fight it out. And what we also already know is that Frieza is going to be the one that death beams Jiren in the back. Now, we're not entirely sure at this point if it's going to be what definitively takes Jiren out of the fight. What we do know is that Jiren is going to ring Goku out in Dragon Ball Super Episode 131. And what we also know on top of this is that from the comments that Akira Toriyama made about Dragon Ball Super's movie coming here, Frieza and the Saiyans are still going to be squatted up and taking on a long-awaited opponent. Now, it could be turned and twisted around to make it seem as though Frieza is that long-awaited opponent, depending on what he uses his wish for at the end of the Tournament of Power, because this movie, it takes place directly after the Tournament of Power, and it necessarily shows us here, just because of that, Frieza is not dead. Either he got revived, or it's still directly, he still has more time in his slot, or something of that nature, where he's still in the ring, I mean, he's still alive, and when he was in the ring in the Tournament of Power, he either got revived, or some people were speculating that he was going to kill himself against Jiren and then they were going to win, but it's not the case. And the fact that they're mentioning him in the same breath as the Saiyans makes it seem as though that they're together rather than apart. So it almost seems as though Frieza's a good guy. Now, here's where some of these elements come into play and kind of flesh together and really comes into fruition here. It's interesting to say that this movie is going to be about the origins of the Saiyans, and we already knew this. This has been hinted at for so long. It's going to have the most Saiyans ever. We also knew that after the Tournament of Power, there was a Planet Sadala arc incoming, but that's yet to be the case because Super is ending, and this movie is supposed to have that. So technically, they haven't confirmed this yet. It seems as though Planet Sadala is going to be featured in this movie. It's what makes the most sense. Now, featuring the most Saiyans, you have to have Frieza, because Frieza is the one that exterminated them all, right? But if you put these things together, Goku's long-awaited opponent was used in one of the comments describing this movie from Akira Toriyama. And who other than Beerus himself, who was actually the one responsible for all these Saiyans being eliminated, who gave the order to Frieza being the long-awaited opponent. It makes a lot of sense based on what we've been given at this point in time, with nothing else. Them saying it's a long-awaited opponent, this involving Saiyans, this involving the origins of the Saiyans, this involving Frieza, this involving the post-tournament things such as visiting Kaba and the other Saiyans out there, and Beerus inevitably being surpassed by Goku in his mastered Ultra Instinct form. All of these things together make it seem as though maybe Beerus is just the enemy in this film. Maybe it's the rivalry between him and Goku at this point in time. Maybe it's them showing us that Goku has finally ascended past Beerus indefinitely, because the beginning of Super was Goku fighting against Beerus that first arc, and even in Battle of Gods, he was like, yo, I'm going to become stronger than you, I'm going to take that spot, I want to be stronger than a god of destruction. And for them to end it all off with the movie showing us that Goku has finally done it, and the one that started this whole wave of everything, Beerus, not only did he start Super in the revitalization of Dragon Ball Z in the franchise, or Dragon Ball Super as a franchise, or Dragon Ball in general, but he also started everything with the influence he had on Frieza, and Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta, which caused Dragon Ball to start as a franchise, because that was the first thing that technically happened to launch Goku to Earth and all of these things. And if they delve deeper into the origins of the Saiyans, remember, it was Beerus that also started those things when he was searching for the Super Saiyan God. Because of those natures, it dates so far back to Yamoshi, who could potentially be featured in this movie. would really connect everything and actually makes a lot of sense. Now, they said it's a long-awaited opponent. They didn't necessarily say if it's someone we already knew, but if Beerus was the one that exterminated the Saiyans through Frieza, technically, and they're still featuring Frieza in this movie, which means because of the Saiyans, he has a crucial role. Planet Sadala still has the most Saiyans there ever. Kaba and all of them are like Vegeta's underlings, and on top of that, they want to meet the king there. It still has all of these elements that you could just smush together and still make sense, and still have such a definitive impact on the Dragon Ball Super franchise, because the Super franchise still could potentially go on through movies or something like that, but the series itself is ending, and we don't know what they're going to be launching with the next one. However, with it being a movie, just like in Resurrection F or especially Battle of Gods, this could end on a cliffhanger, not the series. The series has to come up with a definitive ending, and that being me and my guess being Frieza gets the wish, Frieza wins the tournament, Frieza does something good with the wish, and therefore Universe 11 survives, and especially Universe 6 being the key place where all of this is going to take place. But my speculations are still that Beerus may be the long-awaited opponent. It makes the most sense for all of the build-up. If not, it could potentially be from a Saiyan of the past in Legend. Maybe might be Yomoshi. But a lot of these things point fingers to Beerus. And remember back originally, I think it was in the Battle of Gods movie, where Whis was like telling Beerus, hey, wasn't it you that ordered that thing against the Saiyans? Or no, it was Resurrection F. It was Resurrection F, I believe. And they didn't want Vegeta or Goku to know that. But what if the truth finally comes out and Frieza lets them know, hey, it was Beerus. Beerus is the one that let the Saiyans go extinct. It was Beerus' fault, and now that Goku and Vegeta are both ridiculously strong, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Evolution for Vegeta took on God of Destruction Toppo, Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku should rival, if anything, rival Beerus. It's rivaling Jiren right now in the show. However, it's not going to be enough. We're not necessarily sure how much power Jiren's going to have left after the battle, which is going to conclude in episode 131. However, he should be weak enough to the point where Frieza should be able to take him on, because as we know, Frieza at full power was not able to take on Jiren, who wasn't at full power, but after battling with the Mastered Ultra Instinct, he has to be worn down because of that form. If the form does not wear him down, the form is nerfed, and if he's not worn down, he is broken. So it doesn't necessarily make sense for him not to be worn down enough for Frieza to take him out. But tell me if I'm going crazy, guys, but do these things not all add up and make a lot of sense? The last Dragon Ball movie featured that, and it wasn't Battle of Gods. I'm pretty sure it's Resurrection F, where they had the discussion, and now this is the Dragon Ball Super movie that's taking place after all of this. It's basically 3.5 years later, or even more, I believe. Almost, I believe Resurrection F came out in either 2014 or 2015. I'm thinking Dragon Ball Super came out 2015, and the movie came out 2014, if I'm correct. And with that being said, after all of these years, they're finally making a movie which is technically leading off of that plot point, and they're involving Frieza yet again in the movie, which means Frieza being a key role, Saiyans being a key role, Beerus, long-awaited opponent. It all really makes sense in my head at this point in time, and this is based off of the comments that we've been gotten, or like the comments I've gotten from Akira so far, as well as the spoilers dating up to today's date of the recording of this video, which is March 14, 2018. It's interesting to see how these things all come into play, because if you guys haven't seen the spoilers already, everything's basically been revealed except for the last episode in terms of who wins and who definitively gets the wish, because what we know is Frieza death beams Jiren in the back, but that's where it cuts off, and we know that Frieza's gonna survive because of the movie comments that was just released the other day. So with those things in mind, Frieza survives the Tournament of Power, the Saiyans survive the Tournament of Power. If they both survive, that Tournament of Power had to have ended off on a good note, and Frieza must have did something good to have not killed the Saiyans with the wish. And the fact that their universe isn't gone is basically confirmed at this point that Universe 7 is going to win, and the Saiyans live happily ever after. With those things in mind, who do you guys think is the opponent? What do you think is going to happen in the Dragon Ball Super movie? What we know is Yomoshi could be a theme, the origins of the Saiyans. They're going to have to move forward into the Goku and Vegeta present storyline because they are the poster boys. You cannot leave them out. Plus, Frieza's mentioned, so you have to either have him in the history of the Saiyans or something up until this point as well, because he survived with them. And Planet Sadala is still very strongly hinted at because of what we were spoiled to, or leaked information that was like rumored before, and it makes the most sense for it all to connect in this way at this point in time. Also, to add to that, Vegeta still has to get Ultra Instinct. Now, it's not only a Goku specific type of trait here, because other beings besides Goku can master Ultra Instinct, and I would say, my guess, Vegeta can and most likely will get this form. The reason why is because he was one of the 2 students trained under Whis, who he revealed how to do it, and I think Vegeta more than anyone could ascend to this level beyond anything, because one, it's Vegeta. He's always been able to find a way, minus Super Saiyan 3, to match Goku, and to think that he wouldn't would be kind of blasphemous to think that. On top of that, this being a Saiyan movie, and all of the things that he wanted to do relating to Beerus, Vegeta being the one to, like, beat a god of destruction in Topo, and he was like an acclaimed god of destruction type of power level, his whole form and everything, Hakai, all these things, all these god of destruction elements, Vegeta having his character being the one to take on Beerus and trying to avenge the Saiyan lineage, it could potentially be Vegeta mastering Ultra Instinct versus Beerus. That's just throwing that out there. There could always be a new enemy, it could be a new Saiyan or something that they're fighting, a long-awaited opponent. Who do you guys think it is? Comment down below, smash that like button, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Take care. Peace.